Good evening, sports fans! What's going on, y'all? You are now tuned in to episode 7 of the Sports Couples Perspective. This is me, boy Larry B, joined by my the lovely Cecilia.
Hi!
And tonight, we are going to be getting into a topic that is very sensitive. My goodness, the sensitivity of this topic is unreal. Because steroids and PEDs are something plague, and I mean absolutely plague, professional sports. Because it can be a blessing for people who actually need the steroids at an older age, but at the same exact time, threaten the integrity of sports everywhere, and unfortunately, can cost many things in life, whoever it is who takes them. That is right, y'all. Tonight, we are talking about steroids in professional sports and in sports in general. We got a good one for y'all tonight. Let's boogie, y'all. We're excited to have you here, and we're ready to rock and roll. We thank you so much for being here tonight. Let's get down. You ready, babe?
Yes.
It's gonna be a good one tonight, y'all. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Sports Club Perspective right here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome, sports fans. Well, here we have it. It is a beautiful Friday evening. Of course, I'm a little bit later than usual today. Sorry, but you know us, y'all. Our time jumps around between 7 and 7:30, 8 o'clock.
We'll try to get better at it.
We'll try to get better at it. Sometimes I always have so much to do. Babe, was today not busy?
Yeah, we're kind of on the go today.
I mean,
we were all over town, it felt like.
This week was really busy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really an off week this week.
And, you know, it's not necessarily a terrible thing to be on the go, but my goodness, there's just so many awesome things happening for us, and we're just really excited. I had an awesome, as I mentioned on Wednesday night on The Defining Moment, I had an awesome job interview, so God willing, that works out, or one of these jobs fall into place, and Cecilia's chugging along with the semester with school. We just got a lot of things that we're doing, so lots of awesome things, and just getting ready for our awesome future. So things are just going as we'd like them to, but as of course, sometimes, you know, the show gets a little delay on it, but it's alright, right? Mm-hmm. Well, with that said, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. How's everybody doing here tonight? I see y'all in the chat room. What's going on, Taryn? And what's going on, Andrew? Tonight, we have quite the topic. Not because it is, I mean, of course, it's going to be a great show, but the topic itself is a little touchy. Anabolic steroids, sports, and, of course, PEDs. We watched some really cool documentaries, and tonight, as a matter of fact, forgive me, guys, sorry about that. I got a little dry throat here trying to get some water. But tonight, we actually had a lot of movies one movie to watch. So we thought it was a documentary, but it actually turned out to be a movie on Prime Video, and a plethora, not a plethora, but like 3 or 4 little documentaries or like little videos about steroids and athletes, and you know, it's crazy how they all turn out to be, you know, pointing in the same direction, as we know. So, I'll tell you what, this is this is a really interesting topic, and tonight we're going to touch on a lot of things. We're going to talk about the movie that we watched, which of course, it was really cool, called Anabolic Life. Check it out on Prime, it's free. So if you want a movie to see what steroids are really like, I think this really does touch... As Cecilia said during the movie, it's going a little extreme because this poor guy was like picked on. He had a crappy upbringing. It seemed not horrible, but his parents weren't necessarily the most nurturing parents. And of course, as you know from episodes back, Cecilia is a early childhood education grad, if you will, coming up in just about a couple of months here. Actually, my gosh, yeah, about 3 months here. But that's her topic, that's her thing, and she automatically can pick things out like, oh my gosh, yeah, like parenthood and those type of deal and children. And it's really sad because you can see it. This young man, he definitely had a tough... It wasn't a bad upbringing, but his parents, just, as she said, weren't nurturing. So we have that. And then you can see what happens when you introduce steroids. They're like this godsend miracle drug, but at the end of the day, they're really actually just quite the opposite. But then again, people will argue to the end that they're actually not a bad thing. And a great friend of mine, I hope he doesn't mind me quoting him tonight's show, Trevor Smith, but he actually wrote a really cool paper about this back when he was in law school, actually. And, well, I'll tell you about that later on, because he says steroids are only demonized until they're good. Interesting topic. But with that said, we're welcoming you all once again. If you're just tuning in, thank you very much for tuning in live to the Sports Couples Perspective right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, it's me, your boy Larry B, joined here by my beautiful girlfriend, soon to be fiance, the beautiful Cecilia, and we are just getting ready to talk about our topic for the night, of course, steroids and PEDs in sports. So, first and foremost, gotta check back to the chat room real fast, because Taryn did mention, by the way, what's going on to Andrew. He says, what's going on, guys? And he says Taryn says he'll be returning the favor, of course. We tuned into his show a little bit ago when we were cruising around, so we appreciate you, Taryn. And he says, my show was on earlier. It was earlier, while your show was later. I'm starting to pick up work as well, so my shows have to play musical chairs, and that sucks. It sucks. We all have to kind of do that every now and then, but it's all good. As long as we can be as consistent as possible, that's as best as we can do, right? But hey, at the end of the day, that's just the live stuff. If you're listening to the podcast, well, no matter what time you listen to the show, you're always getting it, right? No matter what.
Yeah.
Any given time. You could be working out at the gym. You could be listening to this tomorrow on Saturday. Cruising around, getting your jog in, getting your workout, right? Isn't that the cool thing about podcasts?
Yeah. To listen to it anytime, anywhere.
Right? So, with that said, I'm going to shut up for a little bit because Cecilia actually took some really good notes, y'all. She was taking notes, and I am really excited.
I sound like a nerd, thanks.
No, it's
just kidding.
It's wonderful. I mean, babe, you pull out the pen and paper, and you're like, I want to take notes on this topic, and you have a nice little healthy page over there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mainly, too, because, one, I thought it was going to be a documentary, basically. So, I mean, I wanted to get some facts down. Because I don't really know much about steroids. I mean, I kind of know that, they're obviously bad, but not like everything that comes with it. All the consequences, basically. And seeing the movie and a couple of the other videos did shed some light on the topic of steroids.
Isn't it sad?
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go ahead and throw this out there now. Before we even get further in and just give you my stance. Tonight we're going to deliver the show from an unbiased perspective. We're going to be talking about the show, or we're going to talk about the topic, just from both sides, but we're also going to be very opinionated. And it's very safe to say both Cecilia and I are very against these, against steroids for numerous reasons. And me as an athlete, still an athlete, now playing some more pro football all these years later, I am still very against steroids. I haven't ever, and I am so happy about this, haven't ever put a steroid in my body. And I'm very, very, very happy about that. I mean, pre-workout I was on for quite some time, and that was kind of scary. Because you literally get addicted to them and become almost like you're dependent on them. But that's funny because once I got off of that crap for so long, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually stronger. I may not be moving crazy super fast like I was in the gym once upon a time, but I'm actually stronger than I was ever. And all I really need is whey protein, so I don't have to deal with everything else. I don't take anything else. Yeah, there's BCAAs in the whey protein, but it's like I don't have to worry about taking all these different little things, like all these little stacks and pills and all these little things that you can go blow $400 on or $300. Remember that first one we watched earlier, babe, about shredded. And this guy's spent $365, I think.
Yeah, it was like 300 and something. I was like, oh my gosh.
And these are the people. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. My apologies. I don't mean to. I really don't mean to step on anybody's toes or be mean or sound like a jerk, but I'm pretty sure we've all seen on somebody's Instagram page before where they take a picture of like the $500 and stuff they just bought at GNC, and it's like, you do understand that I had somebody at GNC one time, a manager, I was talking to him one time, and it's funny because he was pretty cool, but he even told me one time, like, everybody thinks that they come in here and they buy this stuff and it's actually going to turn them into, like this monster. He's like, actually, 5% of what I can sell you in the store is actually going to make you better. It's what you do. It's how you work out, it's how much you work out, and it's what you eat. That's how you treat your body. Like,
what I would do, like, especially, like, for me, like, how we mentioned before, like, I'm, getting more motivated to work out and stuff like that, like, I would research the stuff that you're interested in just to find out some of the facts, like, is this stuff really going to help you for the better? Or, some of that stuff can hinder you, like, the pre-workout and stuff like that, like, that stuff can be kind of bad too. But, obviously you're supposed to do it in moderation, but still, some people can take it overboard. But I would suggest researching the stuff out, or finding someone like a close friend or relative or something that's knowledged in that kind of stuff that can give you some tips and stuff like that.
Agreed. And I completely agree, y'all. Cecilia said a great thing here. Let's give her the applause button, y'all. She hit it on the head. It's true. Steroids, they're scary. Do we condone them? No. But if you're gonna do it, and it's something that you're just gonna do because you're gonna do it, and that's terrible to say, but if you're gonna do it, then at least have somebody knowledgeable helping you out with it, in a sense, right, babe? It's the truth.
Yeah. I wouldn't really trust the people who work there, though, because, they're trying to make money off of you, so, yeah.
Yeah.
I would try to elsewhere.
Exactly.
And it's sad. It has to be like that, but yeah.
It really is. And it's crazy, too, to think the people who, and you're talking about GNC, right? Like all those things and everything. Okay, so sorry, I jumped ahead. But we talked that, too, earlier, because I completely agree. It's true. If you're going to do anything horrible, like steroids or anything like that, then at least, my goodness, at least have somebody who knows what they're doing aid you with it, even though it's still not a good idea. But even then, as Cecilia was talking about with, like, sorry, babe, I jumped ahead. I didn't mean to.
Oh, sorry. I didn't even realize.
No, yeah, but you're talking about, like, pre-workouts and stuff like that.
Yeah, still. Like the stuff that's supposed to be natural, healthy stuff for you, but even then, they put a lot of fake stuff in there that's not going to do anything for you, or might even just make you worse, so, yeah.
Exactly. Do your homework, do your research. But earlier, we talked about this, too, and I just wanted to shed some light on it, because it's true. We were like, we came to the conclusion together, like, if you're going to do it, at least, if you're going to do steroids, at least somebody, at least try to get somebody with somebody who knows what they're talking about. Not that it's ever a good idea, but if you're going to do it, you know what I mean? Right?
It's kind of the safe way, but still, I'm not condoning that at all whatsoever. But, if you really feel like you have to do that stuff, then yes, I would find someone who knows what they're doing and is not going to try to kill you.
Exactly. And I also can say the same exact thing about, like you were saying right now, babe. Seriously. Whey protein, you're going to be just fine. But if you're taking pre-workout and, like, all these different pills and all these stacks and whatever, it's the same thing, because those things can really damage you, too, honestly. Know what the heck you're doing, know what you're putting in your body, and, I just went a little above and beyond with steroids right now, just jumping ahead, but it's the same exact thing with what you're going to be taking at GNC or NutriShop or Vitamin Shop or whatever it is. Once again, somebody's trying to sell you stuff in there, they could be knowledgeable, yes, but still, talk to other people, too, who's not trying to sell you something. know what you're putting in your body, because you don't know. You don't know what you're allergic to. You don't know all these things. Do your best. You can't just get in there and start buying stuff and getting all this craziness, because before you know it, you're putting all these animal stacks and all these pre-workout tablets and caffeine and pre-workout powders and oh my gosh, what are the other ones? Citrine malate you're putting in there, you're putting in all these different things into your body. Now, BCAAs are just fine, but once again, you do that way too much, things can happen. And take this from somebody who's been lifting for the better part of my life. I'm 32 now. I started lifting when I was 14. Yes, I have dabbled around with certain, things like, pre-workout, for sure, heavy on pre-workout in my 20s, and I'm just so glad it's not part of my life anymore. Like I told you, I'm stronger now that I'm not doing that, and I take protein now. Whoop-de-freaking-do. But I love strength. I don't lift, guys. I do not lift to be pretty. I don't want to offend bodybuilders. If you want to be a bodybuilder, do what you do. That's just fine. Build a pretty muscle and look good and have all the definition. Am I saying bodybuilders aren't strong? No. But I am a football player. Therefore, I am related to powerlifting. And that is what I do. Explosive powerlifting for strength. I am obsessed not with how my body looks, but with the numbers I put up. If a bodybuilder starts noticing cuts are going away, then they're going to freak out. I can give a crap less about cuts. If my numbers start dropping, I get freaked out. So I just love my numbers. I'm all about the strength, because I know that in football, you need strength to dominate. You know what I mean? So, and then you got guys out there who are strong, if not, just as strong, if not stronger than you. So it's like, everything goes into performance. But anyway, there's different ways, different types of ways, to gain strength or to do whatever you want them to do. Steroids, that, or performance enhancing drugs. So, first things first, I want to talk about this quick little video, 22-minute video on Prime Video, or a 22-minute documentary called Shredded. And it follows a couple of high school kids who are looking for a certain look and why they are experimenting with steroids at such a young age.
Well, I don't think they're experimenting. They were just wanting to make themselves look bigger and stuff like that, but I don't think they ever said that they were going to turn to steroids. Okay, well then... It was just out there kind of thing.
Okay, well, corrected. The reason why they want to lift and be stronger. And yeah, then I guess I just missed the whole thing altogether. Cecilia was paying more attention than I was. But let's go ahead and talk about this real quick, babe. So once again, this is Shredded. We're talking about Shredded on Prime Video. Go ahead and look it up. It's only 22 minutes. Cool little documentary that apparently I didn't pay too much attention to, but Cecilia did. She got more better notes than I did. But go ahead, babe. Take us through this real quick and talk about these kids, these youngsters, and the reason why a lot of them want that look and want to get in the gym, and why maybe these performance-enhancing drugs could be in the back of their mind.
Well, all of them are wanting that look, to look big, strong, and buff. They feel like it would attract good attention. Some of them were getting teased just because, they're teens. They're like 17, 16 or so. Mm-hmm. So, they're still young. Their body is still growing and maturing. So, they have to give their body time. But, even then, you still get those horrible kids who tease other, their peers and, make them body shaming them, basically. So, some of them, that's why they're like, I want to, they start working out, they start going to the gym, but they become impatient and wanting to look like bodybuilders, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And it's horrible because, they see some of these bodybuilders, like, on, social media, on the spotlight, basically, the whole fame. And they're like, I want to look like them, but not everybody's body is built the same. So you kind of have to work with what you've got, basically. And you have to be happy with your body and the way that it looks, and, and the way that you're built. Not everyone has the same. But with the whole, like, spotlight thing, it's just sad that how they lie to everyone about, on how they look. Some of them, I guess, take steroids to look like that. And if those kids only knew what what they took just to look like that, I mean, is it really worth the consequences? Because it seems like obviously taking steroids has a lot of consequences, and it's not good. But yeah, none of them ended up turning to steroids, but I mean, I'm pretty sure later in life they might think about it, or who knows, maybe they will give up I mean, they never really say afterwards, after the documentary, but I guess with documentaries they never really follow up with people. But I mean, I would hope that they never turn to steroids just to make them feel good or anything like that.
And everything Cecilia just said right now does that not sound like high school, everybody? You know, does that not sound like it? Like the body shaming or like perfect look or unfortunately things that you can chase for as long as you want to, but I just feel like there's so many things in life that you can chase, and some of them you're just not ever going to get there because you got to just accept and learn and love who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Be true to you.
And it goes to show you, too, not just women go through the whole, or girls go through the whole body shaming of, you know, with themselves or with other people telling them something different. But men and boys feel the same way. And, I mean, I've realized that, but this, like, little clip showed me that, too. Like, you know, I never really realized that men go through the same thing, or boys, you know. Well, both men and boys. But, yeah, I mean, both genders go through the same thing, and it's sad. Like, we should be happy in our own skins the way that God created us, and nobody should ever tease anyone or make them feel guilty about their body, because we're all unique in our own little ways, and we should be happy and blessed with that.
I couldn't agree more, babe. And I completely agree. And sometimes it's just genetics. Sometimes you're just not going to get there. I had to look it up right now, courtesy of, what is this? Jeffit.com, Jefit.com. But yes, the body types. These are very different. Okay, you have, of course, the ectomorphs, which are the skinny people. They're lean and lanky, and maybe they're your basketball players or cross-country runners or people who are just really thin. And guess what? You are going to be thin. Your body type is always going to be thin. And you may be fat. Your metabolism is going to be fast, as it says here on Jeffit.com. But you know what else? You're probably not ever going to be able to put on as much muscle as you really want to if you're trying to gain a lot of muscle. Am I saying that's impossible? No. But is it going to be a little difficult? Yes, because your body type is literally that, of an ectomorph. Then you talk about an endomorph. Okay? These are the stocky people who maybe just have a little extra. Okay, maybe you call them husky or chunky or whatever, but they're a little wider, they're stocky, and their metabolism isn't as fast, okay? So they're going to put on a little bit of weight, and they're going to be the ones who are a little, you know, they have that different look, okay? Then you have, of course, the one that everybody chases. You can call it the V, if you will, as a guy, like the top heavy guys with the thin waist or whatever, the mesomorphs. And these guys they're the middle of both body types, and you can put on muscle easy, I guess, or easier than both. And basically, it's just, this is where you want to be. A lot of athletes are mesomorphs. It's just your body type. Now, am I saying that an ectomorph or an endomorph, you can't be a professional athlete or do it? No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, there's just different body types out there that can be challenging for different things. The skinny person, the ectomorph, wants to be a bodybuilder. Well, it's going to be a little harder for them. But they're going to be a powerlifter. They want to lift heavy weights. It'll be a little tougher for them. Can they do it? Yes, but there's going to be, it's going to be a little more of a challenge. The endomorphs, may want to be cross-country runners or do something with, like, high intensity, like running and everything like that. Guess what? It'll be a little harder for them to slim down, to lose weight. It's not the easiest thing in the world for them to do that. Now, is it impossible? No. I'm just saying that, once again, your body type is just what you have. And then the mesomorph is right in the middle. You're good to go. You can lose the weight. You do a lot. You know what I mean? You can lose weight. You can gain weight. You can put on muscle. You can be slim. You can do, really. Am I saying that it's the easiest for them either? No, because some, I'm sure, have a little bit of a challenge. But at the end of the day, I'm just saying that it's, athletically, I guess, the mesomorph has it a little bit easier. But there are still their challenges, I'm sure, as well. But once again, you just got to take a look at the different body types and how it goes. So for the people at the gym, they're like, I can't lose weight. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to quit. No, they're probably an endomorph who, needs a little bit more of them. Should they take a whole bunch of freaking fat burning medication? No. But should these people run a little extra or do their best, eat a little bit better? Because guess what? If the ectomorph is trying to, you wonder, there's people who are out there, man, that person could eat a whole pizza and still go run and they're still thin. They're probably ectomorphs, y'all. Understand, it's not fair, okay? It's not fair. I know what I'm about to say is not fair. But guess what? If an endomorph and ectomorph walk into a gym together and they both train the same exact way, and the ectomorph eats a pizza afterwards, it's probably not going to do much to them. Let the endomorph, and they're probably going to gain weight a little bit easier. Is it fair? No. And am I 100% correct? No. I'm guessing this, but once again, this is from just years of just, kind of, not studying, but trying to learn this kind of stuff too, of course, doing my own thing, lifting and the whole bit, but, and the same exact thing. Let the endomorph and the endomorph go in and lift with the ectomorph, and guess what? The endomorph is going to be stronger probably naturally. And they can lift and put up some bigger weight, and they're just stronger. Okay, and the ectomorph, like, wait, can I just, I'm not as strong. What the heck? They're trying to put on muscle. So it's a little tough for them. So what I'm saying is it's tough for either or, okay? But at the end of the day, Taryn cracking me up. Yes, Taryn, you're absolutely right. A gallon of water, Cecilia and I do a lot. And
well, I try to.
I get down.
I love water. But, yeah, it's just hard to get a gallon down sometimes.
It is.
I'm doing the best that I can. And I love it. But, yeah, it just sucks that you have to pee, every 5 seconds.
It's nothing bad. I have been bad this week, but usually I get down a gallon to 2 gallons of water a day. I heard this one time, if you get down a gallon before 4 o'clock every day, that your metabolism will speed up, and you know what I mean? You can start to, get thinner and quicker your appetite. There's all kinds of things that have to do with water. At the end of the day, drinking plenty of water
is really good for you.
It's just a good thing for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Body needs it.
However you do it is however you do it, and it's okay. It's like us with worshiping God. Hey, there's no right or wrong way. It's just however you do it. Mm-hmm. As long as you do it, it's great. Mm-hmm. And don't get us wrong. We're not trying to sit here and push Christianity on everybody. We're just saying it's our thing. It's what we love. That's what we do. We love God. At the end of the day, guess what? That's how we do it. It's how we do it. How you do it's how you do it. You know what I mean? So the same thing. So Taryn says here, if you're struggling to lose weight, here's a tip. Drink a gallon of water and walk 20,000 steps. I at least try to get 10,000 steps in. And good for you, Taryn. That's a great thing. That's a great thing, Taryn.
Getting any kind of movement is good.
But any kind of movement is perfect. Yeah. We work out regularly, but that's awesome. So I do want to share this real quick, though. Before we get into our next, we're going to take ourselves a commercial break right now, and when we come back, we're going to actually get into this more, but I did want to share this really quick, Taryn. Hugs, pugs, and rugs, not drugs. But Andrew Hagenbaugh, which is the host, of course, today he couldn't get on. He took a week off of the State of Ohio Sports, usually on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and of course, followed is the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, of course, always here on Fridays as well. Usual time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, but today's time was 4 p.m. Pacific Time. And of course, this show usually has 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Today was about 7:35 p.m. Pacific Time. But, as you can say, as Terrence said earlier, a little bit of musical chairs today. And Terrence does do that daily, of course, the water. And yes, plenty of ways to do it. But thank you for sharing that, Terrence. Awesome stuff. And not saying that you're wrong, brother. I know you got yours. If that works for you, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And, we do our best. But yes, Andrew says here, and this is really sad, but I want to make sure to share this real quick because this is a good segue into our next, and it's a sucky way to segue, but I'm just saying this is going to go into the next part. But Andrew says, my girlfriend's dad passed away 10 years ago because he was a bodybuilder and took loads of steroids, but was also addicted to cocaine, and he passed of coronary heart disease. She said the doctor held his heart and it just melted into his hands because of all the drugs and steroids mixed together. Oh, wow.
I am sorry to hear that.
I am sorry to hear that too, and may he rest in everlasting peace.
Chills.
It's really sad. And
That's sad.
It's horrible. And drugs will do that. They will. And it's really, really sad. But lifting is lifting, and we call it getting bit by the iron bug. It's true. When you lift, it's like you just want more. And it depends on what you want. If you're a bodybuilder, you're going to want more tone, definition. You're going to want more of that. You want to get more ripped. Powerlifter, you're going to want more strength. Crossfitter, you're whatever you do. Just kidding, no. Crossfitter, you're just going to want to get faster speeds at your competitions. Strongmen, the same thing. You're going to want more weight to press, more weight, more faster times to get better, how to carry this heavy object from here to here faster, farmers walks and yoke walks and carrying and tossing kegs and pulling airplanes and diesels and all those things. So there's a different way, okay? We all want something different. We want to be stronger for a sport. We want to be faster for a sport. We want to be more in balance for a sport. We want our core to be better. We want all these different things. At the end of the day, it's all we're chasing is just getting better. At the end of the day, good old hard work, good old-fashioned hard work, and something delicious like protein every day, I think, and lots of good water, it'll help. Definitely will. So, with that said, that's the first segment of our show tonight. We're going to stay on the topic, of course, but that right there is huge. We're going to jump into the next segment, of course, coming up. We're going to talk about the movie Anabolic Life, and then we're going to get into something at the end that is very touchy, and after our second break of the evening, we're going to have a really touchy subject later on. We're building it all up to it, but we're going to talk about steroids in sports and athletes. And let me just give you a little bit of a teaser. Should athletes be in the Hall of Fame who have known to take steroids, who have tested positive? Or should it always be fair, of course? Or, wait a minute, are more athletes, professional athletes, on steroids than we think? All that and more coming up next here on the Sports Club Perspective. You're listening, of course, to the Sports Club Perspective right here on IE Sports Radio with me, your boy Larry B, and my beautiful woman,
Cecilia.
Right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Here to tell you about the newest IE Sports Radio show, the Kansas City Shuffle. We'll be talking football, reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, baseball, your 2015 World Series Royals, college hoops, college football, and much to Ryan's delight, hockey.
Oh, wow.
Make sure you catch up with us on Twitter at KC Shuffle Show. You can also catch up with my colleague Ryan the Pez Choir at the Pez Choir Fool
on Twitter.
Make sure you check us out on IE Sports Radio at 6 p.m. Central Time to 7:30.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan, any final words for the listeners?
Yeah, come on in, enjoy the winning we've been having here in Kansas City lately, and don't be jealous. Bye-bye.
IE Sports Radio.
Your direct feed for all things sports. Nope, that's not it. Cut that.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned in live to the Sports Couples Perspective right here on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What's going on, y'all? The first segment of our show was in the books, and, well, that was pretty cool. Talking, well, I guess I don't know if it's pretty cool or not, but, I mean, I feel like tonight's more of an awareness night than anything. But, what do you think, babe, so far? I mean, tonight's show has been, it's been a fun one, but, the topic is just, I mean, I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about more often.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, I mean, at least I hope it's informative to everyone, and yeah, it's interesting to talk about, and it does make aware for everyone to be careful.
It certainly does. So, with that said, we're going to jump back on over here to Cecilia's awesome notes, because we watched a movie tonight by the name of Anabolic Life. Make sure to check it out on Prime. Really cool movie. Once again, Anabolic Life. Overall, a young man, you know, how old would you say he was, babe? The main character.
Oh, I don't know. He probably looked like in maybe mid-30s, late 30s, early 40s, somewhere around there.
Somewhere right around there, yes. And, you know, his whole life seemed like it was kind of rough. Was it horrible? No. Did he have a terrible upbringing? No. Was he, you know, did a lot of bad things happen to him? At least we didn't know that. But from what we understand, and Cecilia pointed this out immediately, his parents weren't the most supportive. Now, when your parents aren't the most supportive and they're not cheering you on as much, they're being a little too strict and crazy, because there was even a little scene where it showed him, like, him and his brother miniature golfing, and his dad was tripping out and flipping out on him and whatever, all these things. Babe, what do you call that, and what could be, maybe not always, but what could be the damaging, or even just regular effect, well, I guess it could be damaging or whatever it is, but what could be the effects of that type of parenting?
Where they're very just yelling and very strict. I mean, obviously the kid is going to want to rebel and go against everything that their parent says to tell when they tell them. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's going to have some effect on their life, but, I mean, they could always change that for the better.
They definitely could, but this kid also went to school, apparently was picked on, wasn't the most popular kid, was a thin little guy, you know, was a thin guy growing up, and at work, and then it carried on to work. Apparently his boss is, and this is just a different situation, but his boss
was a jerk.
Total a-hole, okay? This guy was just really, like, total jerk, all over his case, just not a cool guy whatsoever. Very demanding, used language with his employees, and you just want to not work. You don't want to work for anybody like that ever, okay? But really, it's just messed up. I mean, you know, if you have to, you have to, but especially if it's a stepping stone job, even in a career, I guess if you have to, you have to. If you love your job, you love your job. If they're the only bad part, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it just sucks when this happens. And this guy was picked on, even at work. He had a close friend, but it's just He had a wife, which is awesome.
He just had negativity all around, basically.
He did. But at the end of the day, he did have a loving wife.
Yeah, she was on his side.
And if it's anything, be thankful for your positives. And try to always find the little negatives and the big positives. Now, is that always easy? No. But it is important. And this is something that is always hard to do. But I'll tell you what. What could possibly be a deciding factor for this guy's behavior is also kind of the peer pressure. Realistically, right, babe? So,
yeah,
this guy was, at the gym, or he just one day thought about it, and he told his wife, "Well, you think I'd look better if I put on some muscle?" She's like, "I don't know." She basically told him, like, "I love you no matter what," and he was like, I guess he was like,
well, he got to that point because him and his wife were having dinner with his parents. And for some reason, they brought up weight. I can't really remember why, but they were always saying, like, oh, he's too skinny. And his dad was just like, I always told him that he should eat more, I think red meat or something like that. Basically, just to eat more, just to put more meat on his bones. But it just seems like with his body type, he was just naturally skinny. So, like, no matter how much he ate, his metabolism seemed to work fast. So he couldn't put on the weight that I guess his dad wanted him to. And so, yeah. So basically, yeah, I guess he just got tired of hearing that. So he's like, well, you know what? I'm going to finally do something about it. And that's why he kind of went off on his wife. He's just like, well, would you love me more if I, had muscle and gained, I guess, some weight or something? And then that's when she was just like, well, I love you either way. So it really doesn't matter to me.
And it's, yeah, so see, apparently Cecilia was paying more attention than me anyway in there. And I love what Taryn says here. No, I think she's absolutely correct, y'all, trust me. Because I'm over here, sometimes it's like, ooh, go off. But then again, at the same time, too, I'm like, thinking like the show, how we're going to put it together, and if we're going to need time to, so y'all know me. But, and Cecilia knows me for dang sure. So, Taryn says here in the chat room, why are people mean? What good comes out of making someone's life miserable? It's disappointing.
From what I've learned, and it's not giving them any right, it's just understanding them a little bit more, but supposedly people who are bullies were at some point a victim of being bullied, or they get bullied at home from their parents or maybe siblings or whomever, but mainly that's why too. Some people are mean, and they, instead of it being fully on them, they treat their peers or somebody else kind of rude to. But even then, they should know better. If they hate the way that makes them feel, then they shouldn't do it to other people as well.
It's a terrible thing, and I completely agree, Taryn. And I mean, you don't.
And most of those kids really need help.
Absolutely,
they need to seek a counselor or something like that to help them out, get past those I guess emotions and frustrations and stuff like that, or maybe report it so that they can get out of that home or something.
It's really sad when you see somebody have to go through something so bad. And once again, we're not condoning that either. We're not trying to say like, oh, well, that's giving them a right to, but sometimes it's
just understanding them and giving their point of view, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it still doesn't make it right, but at the end of the day, it's true. Some people just bully just because they...
But some people, too, just have a mean nature, though.
So. Yeah, some people are just jerks. Honestly. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just really messed up regardless. And, yeah, so Taryn says here, spread kindness like pizza bakers spread toppings and pizza sauce. There you go, Taryn. A little bit of uppiness there, man. Let's go ahead and get the laugh in. I love it. Analogies.
No, food analogies, yes. It's cool.
Good old Taryn. So... that's our Taryn here at IE Sports Radio, ladies and gentlemen. But I'll tell you what. This poor guy, I mean, did he have a choice? Yes. But at the end of the day, he ran to a guy at the gym who called it gear, of course. I didn't even know that was a street name for it, a slang for steroids. But he ran to a guy at the gym one day. I guess he actually ordered steroids himself, called...
yeah, he was researching it.
Finna. Okay, some cheap crap, I guess, that he just bought, and he made it, and he injected it, and he ended up getting some kind of, like, infection. He ended up in the hospital, and the doctor told him, like, dude, like, I don't want to see you back in here ever again. Like, that was horrible. You could have killed yourself. And his wife was all freaked out and mad at him, and his parents were, and you know, and the doctor even said he have a loving family, you know, and they were there for him. But it's just crazy, it's messed up what happened to him. But then, you know, he was at the gym one day and he was benching and he was trying to get that last set, and you know, the bar just got stuck on him, and this guy who was lifting by him came to his rescue, but was kind of being a jerk about it, was telling him, like, you know, like, it's 95 pounds, like, the F's wrong with you, be a man, and this and that. And I get it, there is some type of gym camaraderie where you're trying to help each other out, especially like on a sports team too, like in the weight room, like, and you know, motivating each other even if being a little mean. But at the end of the day, it still just wasn't. It was cold-blooded. It really was. It was messed up the way that this guy was trying to motivate him. And then what happens? He ended up being a pusher for steroids, and he like pressures him into going to his house and pressures him into getting steroids off him. I even think he said that if you deliver some steroids for me, I'll give you this for free. It's like $600, like, right, babe, something like that.
Yeah. So
I mean, you know, so he kind of got pressured in this too, because he does not really have like a self-esteem in a sense to where, I wouldn't say self-esteem. Well, self-esteem was kind of low, but he can't really stand up for himself either. He's a little skinny guy, and he's dealing with this big old steroid freak. So, you know, of course, the guy, and that's what we were talking about earlier. You know, unless we don't ever condone steroids, but if you ever do it, or pre-workout, I mean, pre-workout and stuff you find at supplement stores, well, do what you got to do. But I still don't condone that stuff. Protein, yes. Everything else, but that's up to you. But still, no matter what, like Cecilia said earlier, if you're going to do it, at least do your homework and have somebody knowledgeable and not just people at the store tell you about it. And the same thing with steroids. If you're going to do it, I mean, we condone that you don't. But if you're going to do it, at least talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. And this guy, this pusher, was apparently.
He knew his stuff.
He knew his stuff. And he even said it, like, don't take more than I tell you. Later on, he was telling him that, you know, like, in a crazy scene where they got caught up with the police or something could happen or whatever. But anyway, at the end of the day, well, with the movie, it ends up, the guy is just, he kind of spirals out of control. He starts getting, I think he took too much. I forgot what he does, but he's getting bigger, he's noticing, but he's actually starting to gain a little more confidence in himself, it looks like. But at the same exact time, it's like wrong, because his wife is like, you know, like, she is totally against this, and she freaks out at him, and she leaves him because she knows that he's taking steroids, and he freaks out. You know, he's mad about it, but he just keeps on doing it. He starts, doing roids, and he continues doing roids, and then his father, the main character, Adam's father, goes to the pusher's house and tells him, like, I'll kill you if you keep on giving my boy steroids. And the guy's like, get it off my property. And so all that happens, and then it ends up getting even crazier because Adam begins to, just really go off the deep end with it. And I don't know if the pusher really did have his connect popped in China, like how he said, but at the same exact time, he, maybe he was just gained his, conscious, like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this. This guy's dad's really concerned about him. So I think he's like, you know what, I don't want to, like, help him no more. So either one. He told him that his connect in China got popped. But regardless, he just told him that he's not going to basically deal with him anymore. And what happens? He kind of goes off the deep end. He knows he's not getting a fix no more. And his wife tries to come back to him. And they got intimate, and he got a little rough, and I don't know really how it goes. We didn't really box that part, but he got a little abusive, I guess, and she freaking called the cops on him, and they took him in, and his parents bailed him out, and then he gets out, and then he freaks out in the car, and then he walks away from his parents, and his dad's like screaming at him, telling him, to get it with it, but they're worried about him, they don't want to see him dead. And then his dad goes back to the pusher's house and tells him, like, hey, can you help me out? And the pusher's like, you know what, you're on your own, whatever. But then he tells him, too, a little parenting something. The pusher tells him, if you would have been a better parent, he wouldn't be in this mess. What do you think about that, babe, about that comment?
I mean, I don't think it really, because, I don't know. I mean, it could go both ways. I mean, he doesn't know what kind of father he was. So, I mean, I feel like in a way it doesn't really give him that right to say that, because that's judging him and he doesn't know him. But, I mean, he obviously was a good dad to a certain extent. I mean, yeah, he was a provider. And I mean, it doesn't really go into detail about, like, if he was there a lot for his son or not. But, I mean, yeah, he was a yeller and kind of a, you know, it seemed like he was kind of a butthead. But, I don't know. I mean, he was true about it in a way, but still, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't give him that right to say that.
I
Because,
agree.
I mean, there are good parents, and unfortunately some who were, you know, they're parents that are really good to their kids and, you know, taught them very well, but for some reason they can just be rebellious for some reason and, you know, go in that direction too. So, I mean, you never know.
I agree. And it's messed up, you know, how everything kind of gets panned out. But I'll tell you what really got me was just the fact of the matter that, you know, like, he's had the young man Adam went through all this. He was sick of everything, and, you know, it's like he got picked on his entire life, and he started to finally stand up. He gained some muscle, he got some confidence, but the roid rage got to him. He was freaking out, and then the very end, somebody freaks out on him on the phone. He's a telemarketer, so he freaks out, and then he, like, flips out on the guy. His boss, who's already crazy with him, gets on him and fires him, and then it spirals out of control from there, and then actually the movie just ends, which is crazy. It just abruptly ends. But, you know, he leaves. He's freaking out. I think the end is when when they're driving him. His parents bailed him out of jail, and they're driving him home. He gets in a fight with his dad on the side of the road, and he walks away from him. And then they're looking for him, and he ends up going back home. Well, he ends up going wherever his wife was. Well, it was home, of course, and his friend at his job was actually there, and he envisioned him sleeping with his wife. He envisioned it. It wasn't actually happening, but he's just losing it, you know, because of these steroids. They're tripping him out, and he's got roid rage. And before you know it, you know, he breaks down the door, or he just opens the door, and he freaks out on his friend. He freaks out, and his wife is there, and she's screaming at him, and they both take off, and then he's in the house by himself, and he's having a meltdown, and I think he's gonna punch something. He starts punching stuff, and see his fists are all bloody. He's in the bathroom, and he's talking to his mom on the phone, and she's telling him, like, I'm sorry I wasn't a better parent, I'm sorry, or something like that, like, I didn't tell you this, or I didn't tell you that, you're beautiful in every way, no matter what, no matter how you are, I love you, no matter what. And then she's like, I'm sorry I couldn't say that. And he's like, why? Yeah. And did he say, babe, like, why couldn't you tell me this earlier?
Yeah, he's like, why couldn't you tell me this when I was, like, basically younger? And I forgot what she said, but yeah.
But then it's crazy, because he's standing in front of the mirror, and he sees, like, another syringe just loaded on the floor. And you brought up a good point, babe. You said that could have been from when he made the finna, and it's like an old dirty needle and everything. But he's like looking at it, and you can tell he's like, his connect just cut him off. He's gonna have no more. He doesn't want to take a month off of it. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to take. He said, like, in a month or so.
He doesn't want to have to go through the withdrawals.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose his gains, of course, and he's already freaking out in his head. And then he looks at the needle, and it's like, you can tell he's contemplating picking it up and doing it. And does he do it? I don't know, because he's freaking out. And then the movie just ends.
Yeah, I think the movie was just meant to be for an open interpretation.
I think so. And I think it meant to open some eyes, too.
Yeah, I mean, it basically showed... I really liked the movie because it really showed basically all the downfalls of taking steroids. And none of it was a plus side, other than just getting bulky, like buff, strong, but even then that's not worth it because you're losing your mind. You have these anger issues. It does other stuff to your body, and it's just like, yeah, it's not worth it to me.
No, it's not. And speaking of doing other stuff to your body, Cecilia and I were looking at a couple of videos on YouTube, and oh boy, I'm going to have to go back and try and find everyone that we were looking at in the history over here, which is, it shouldn't be hard. But there was a couple of them that were just kind of like, whoa. Like, okay, so the first one we watched was, we wanted to watch, where is it at? Okay, so we watched Women in Steroids, and it's by Kenny K.O. on YouTube. And he's basically talking about, yeah, like, because also Cecilia wanted to know too. Like, she was like, yeah, like, wow, like, women too, you know? Like, and she's like, I wonder if it, like, ruins women, or if it like messes up their ability to have children, or, you know, all of this. And it's crazy because It does. Like, this guy's talking about, like, yes, it can do things. You're basically taking male hormones. And you're basically turning yourself slowly into a man. And then we saw this BBC documentary, a little bit of it. And, well, actually, the whole thing is only 4 minutes long. And it says the female bodybuilder who often gets mistaken for as a man or whatever. And, ladies and gentlemen, she does look like a man.
Yeah. If I didn't read the the title of it, I would have thought that she was a man.
I mean, she seriously looks like a man.
Yeah.
Like, and this other girl later we were watching, Leanne Secrets on YouTube. She has a video called Women on Steroids. And she even was talking about, like, all these things that could happen. Like, don't do it. She's saying, like, basically don't do it. Because there's some irreversible things. Like, once you start getting the jawline and you start, like, becoming, like, a deeper voice, you start, like, turning into a man, losing, like, what is it? Male pattern baldness and...
Yeah.
And like,
acne and all the other stuff.
Like,
I don't know what's all the other stuff. But
yeah, but...
It's basically all the stuff that you listed.
You can actually... Some of that, if you go too far, can be irreversible.
Yeah, you're stuck with that for life. Even when you get off that stuff.
Which is horrible. And then, of course, we heard all of that, and it's like, whoa, like, if that's not an eye-opener, So all those things can happen. Of course, for men, we already know the BITCH boobs, what you call them, of course. That is when they call it gynecomastia or whatever it is, when you have boobs basically as a man, you start to develop breasts and it starts to irreverse you. You start to lose the ability to make your own testosterone. Now, is there ways to get around this with blockers and all that? I'm sure there is. You hear all these different types of doping and however you do it. But at the end of the day, why even do that to yourself?
You're still hindering your body no matter what.
Exactly. So there goes all of that. So we have all steroid stuff happening. And all these effects can happen to you. Women need to stay as far away from steroids as possible because you're literally turning yourself into a man. Okay, like you're.
So should men too, though. In
men, you're turning yourself into a woman. Okay, so I mean it's kind of messed up, but it's true. Like you start to ruin because your body starts saying like, "Hey, I don't have to produce testosterone anymore because they're putting in testosterone."
Yeah.
So your body's like, "Hey, I don't need to make it no more."
Yeah.
And then all kinds of bad stuff happens, or can happen. So, am I saying this is going to happen to everybody who does it? No. Am I saying that steroids is this all-time killer that can, destroy you? No. But am I saying that it can do this? Can it? Yes. Am I saying that it is it? No. But is it capable of doing it? Yes. So, once again, it's not a good thing to do. It's kind of, it's unsafe. But at the end of the day, that's what it is, y'all. That's what steroids are, and that is pretty scary.
And then too, if you want to have kids for both, genders, it hinders both you because, I forgot what I was going to say, but you basically need help professionally from a doctor to get to
reproduce.
There you go, to reproduce.
And that's really sad. So
it's just like you have to think about all these consequences. Is all that stuff really worth it in the end, or even worth it at all? Not even at the end, but to take this stuff. Yeah, it helps you in certain ways because you can manipulate it to however you want it to work for you, but it's just not worth it.
It's not. So you have some healthy notes over there, babe. I want to know what have you written down over there? Because I would love for you to share these things. I really, because this is good stuff, and this is all going to part with the movie. And then once again, we'll take ourselves one more break after this, and when we come back, we're going to bring it all together with athletes in sports. So, babe, what we got over there on that piece of paper?
Even when that guy, what was his name again? Adam. On the movie, there was posters all over the gym, like showing these big buff guys. More than buff, like actually really, built guys who were probably bodybuilders. But we should just stop and don't compare yourselves to other people because, like I said, our bodies are built differently. We're all unique in different ways. Accept who you are and how your body is made and built, and be blessed with it and work with it. Like we keep saying, why would you want to put the bad stuff in your body if it's just going to hinder you in the long run? Obviously, it can bring death because you can obviously overdose on it. Your body can deteriorate. And with just the certain features, you can't go back from it sometimes. So, and And that's basically what's wrong with America too. Is like we want everything right now instead of being patient and working with our bodies to get where we want to get. Of course, it's going to take time, and that's why mainly people take steroids is because they're wanting that body that they want right now instead of just waiting. Because I mean, I feel like hard work pays off. You can't get anywhere by not working at it. So yeah, I feel like everybody should be patient and just take the time to, you know, let your body get there instead of rushing it.
I completely agree.
Obviously taking the steroids can be an addiction, which is horrible and it's sad, and it not only takes a toll on you because your personality, your attitude changes for the worse, but it also takes a toll on your family. Your family is seeing you, you know, just destroy yourself and your body, and they hate to see you go through this because they love you so much, and there's really not much that they can do until you hit rock bottom, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's basically what I really got from the movie and everything.
Well, there you go, babe. Great job, by the way. Gotta get the applause button tonight. That was a great job. I gotta tell you, where's that applause button at? I thought I clicked it. There we go. Let's hit it. Good job, babe. I love it. Great stuff, because, the reason why is because I think you hit it on the head. You said everything that I could have, better than I ever could have said in just a few seconds there. Literally, like a minute and a half. That was awesome. So thank you for sharing that, babe. And I completely agree that we need to stop doing this to ourselves, And even in the movie, they talked, I think he was in the supplement store, and somebody told him, or I forgot wherever it was, but, there was remember? Where he said, somebody in the supplement store, or was at the gym, told him, yeah, you can get that big, but you're not going to get that big taking all this stuff.
Oh, it was on the documentary of the teens.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You're not going to get bigger. You're not going to turn into that guy on the wall by taking what we have here in the store. That's illegal stuff. That's going to get you that big. Mm-hmm. And it's true. It's like, can we stop it? Mm-hmm. So big shout out to Marcus, by the way. Marcus Lowe's great, the host of Gloves Off here on IE Sports Radio every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Check him out. Great stuff, as always, covering all combat sports, boxing, and MMA, and everything in between. Great stuff, man. And see, I'll tell you what. Marcus, this subject really, Marcus hit this one hard. And we're going to read these comments right now, but Marcus says something right now that I'm just, let me just get to it real quick. So, Taryn says here, if you take steroids, you are setting yourself up to take the Wait a Minute Show's Big L Award, not just for a week, but for life. See another loser. Big shout out to Jelani JV Bodie, by the way. On the Wait a Minute Show, make sure to catch him, y'all, on Spreaker. Type in the Wait a Minute Show or wherever you find your podcasts, and he's a great guy, man. So, Terrence says, beautifully said, Cecilia.
Thank you.
Very, very true. Marcus says, can't feel sorry for those who cut corners.
No.
Woo! Was that it?
I was just going to say, cheaters never prosper.
They sure don't. And Marcus says here, there's a kid working his butt off, playing by the rules, and you have the audacity to take steroids?
Right.
And then Terrence says, facts, Marcus. And it's true, because Marcus is involved with the sport. He covers the sport here on IE Sports Radio, where you see a lot of PED use, and that's boxing and MMA. Those guys are using boxing and MMA. They are using lots of PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs, in some way or another. They get busted for it somehow, some way. They get busted, things happen, and unfortunately, they serve the consequence. Of course, with losing sponsorship or, having to postpone fights and a lot of things. But a lot of these guys really do, it's like, man, you are going to be taking PEDs, not just steroids, but some kind of performance-enhancing drugs like HGH. HGH is another form, and we'll get to that in the next segment, of course, talking about athletes of sports. But overall, it's the truth. And Marcus, I hope you stay around for this next segment, man, because this is going to be a good one. I will promise you. We're talking about sports with athletes. Athletes, by the way, steroids in sports. Sorry, with athletes. But with that said, we're going to wrap up this segment here. But overall, Anabolic Life. It was more of a low budget movie. Wasn't this?
Yeah,
no,
I don't think it made it to the big screen. But.
No big time movie. And the actors, I mean, did you recognize any of them? You did one.
I've never seen him before, but he looked like another actor. But they're brothers. That's what I found out.
Okay, well, there you have it. So one of the actors in the movie, but overall, this is actually pretty cool. A movie that I believe was worth the watch. But before I go any further, babe, give us your thoughts and your final grade of this movie, Anabolic Life, on Prime Video.
I thought it was good, very informative. Like I said, I didn't know much about steroids. All I know is that they are bad, but it really opened my eyes to all the downfalls that steroids takes on the body, and it was all negative, all bad. So I thought it was really good. I would give it a B.
A B?
Mm-hmm.
I'm right there with you. I think a solid B. I want to say B+, just because I know that this is a real thing. And the reason why I'm even giving it that B+ is just because I think it's a good eye-opener. Now, is it the cinematic adventure that's going to give you, like, this awesome, like, super cool movie experience? It's going to... No. But at the same exact time, I feel like it got its point across.
Yeah.
It's a good film to watch. No, once again, low budget and everything, but it's definitely worth the watch if you're like, let's just say you don't know too much about steroids. Well, this is a good movie to watch too. I'm not trying to say to scare you, but, it definitely does show you. And by the way, y'all, this is very real. Have I ever done it? No. But people who have experienced this, who I've heard stories from or seen lots of YouTube videos about steroids and everything like that, it's because I'm an athlete, guys. So, of course, and, I love sports, so I'm going to always be gravitated towards anything with sports, and steroids is a part of it, unfortunately, and PEDs. So, all these people wouldn't lie. All these horrible things that you hear, they wouldn't lie. So, I feel like this movie really lets you into the inside of what it really is like. So, overall, any last thoughts or comments on the movie, babe?
No.
Alright, y'all. Check it out on Amazon Video. Anabolic Life. Cool movie. And there you have it. So, with that said, y'all, we're going to take ourselves our final break of the evening. And when we get back, we're going to hit the big one. We're going to put it all together. Now, we talked about the youngsters taking steroids. We also talked about steroids in general in this movie with Anabolic Life, or Anabolic Life on Amazon Video. And next up, we're going to talk about athletes in sports, steroids in sports. Of course, taken by these professional athletes. And this one is a fun one, but also touchy at the same exact time, because we're going to talk about what should the consequences be for these athletes. Should these athletes be in the Hall of Fame or be considered? If they already are in there, should they still be there? Should they have been inducted in the first place? Should their records still stand? And if they're now just getting busted, what should be the consequence, of course? And for future people coming up, why should they not do this? And maybe more athletes are on some type of PEDs than we would like to think in sports. Professional sports. So, all that to come. You're listening here to the Sports Club Perspective, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back for the finale of episode 7, right after this.
Welcome in to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and you're listening to IE Sports Radio. If you like big, nasty hits, if you like slap chop straight to the neck, if you like it when the blood hits guys and the big boys get down, then this is your show on IE Sports Radio. This is the Neutral Zone. May our shots on goal always be true and straight to the net. If they are not, may they be followed up, redirected, or change collected. Let's go on IE Sports Radio with me, your host, Robert Cavanaugh, and this is The Neutral Zone.
Motorsports takes many form, and there's one show on IE Sports Radio that's ready to cover it all.
I sure hope you're talking about you and I, Daryl, because I know the Extra Mile is the best place to go for everything motorsports related.
Yes, it is. From NASCAR to IndyCar to sports cars to everything in between, IE Sports Radio has everything covered for the fastest sport in the world.
Plus, don't forget all of our random shenanigans along the way.
That's right, Caitlin. So for plenty of motorsports coverage and plenty of Caitlinisms, check out The Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio with Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Caitlin Seen, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
Were you listening to a great game on USRN, but then the Wi-Fi crashed in the final seconds? Or do you simply want to listen to the best calls we here at USRN have to offer? Well then, you need to go check out our Audio Boom page. It holds a collection of our best calls that you don't want to miss. How do I get there, you ask? You can download the Audio Boom app and look up Ultimate Sports Radio, or simply go to audiobook.com/Ultimate Sports Radio. And as always, thanks for listening and making USRN one of the most talked about sports networks on Mixler.com.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with a list of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the colleges, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome back, sports fans. What's going on, y'all? So, we have reached the final segment here of the show. Thank you all for tuning in, and we are definitely enjoying ourselves. Hopefully, you're enjoying it, and we are doing our thing, y'all. So, if you are just tuning in, welcome. Catch, of course, the beginning of the show on all these awesome networks that we have. Well, sorry, all the awesome podcast platforms pretty much everywhere. Of course, you can catch us on iSportsRadio.com, right here on the Spreaker Show Reel, wherever you find your podcasts. We're on the majority of all of them. YouTube too. And show us love, y'all. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we thank you so very much. So, with that said, y'all, we are now on to the final segment here of our show, and that, of course, is steroids in sports. We watched the YouTube videos earlier, and I just wanted to show Cecilia kind of, how things go. Well, not kind of, but how things go. Professional sports is kind of a dirty thing. I love them very much, but it sucks to think that a lot of them are on some type of performance-enhancing drug. Is it a fact? No. Is it always happening? No. Is every one of them on some type of drug? No. But are a lot of them? Yes. And are more than we'd like to admit? Unfortunately, probably yes. So, this is a video we watched earlier from Formula SEC Initiated on YouTube, and it's called Your Favorite Athlete Could Be, and it says in little brackets, probably is using steroids. And it's the truth, guys. Honestly, I hate to say it, and this is a video of him just talking about it, but yeah, it's the truth. More are probably on steroids than we'd like to admit, and it sucks, but it's the truth. Because that's the bar now. The bar has been raised to where if one person's doing it, everybody has to do it, because you have to keep up with everybody else. If you want to be great, you have to also be along with it. So, we're going to open it on up here to our first topic of it all, which is the record books. This is always a toughie, and There was actually, I looked up arguments, of course, that are cool for debates, because I like to look up for the show and everything. In 2011, Ryan Braun of Bleacher Report wrote this article even where I got this idea from for this show. And I like what this is actually a pretty crazy story, pretty crazy little debate, but he put this in here about athletes and should these dang steroids hinder what they have going for them? Should the Hall of Fame even have these players in the Hall of Fame? So I'm looking for it right now, which I can't seem to find it, but it's the truth. As a matter of fact, this is a good one because, and this is going to go a little bit of a sidebar, but his number one thing is, should athletes be role models? And he says that on here, Charles Barkley says no. Is he right? And then he says here, I tend to think he is not. Athletes are role models, and they don't really have a choice. That's the truth. Nor do actors, politicians, or anyone else who appears on TV for their own personal gain or that of their employees. It says if you make your living via a professional or a profession that requires television, internet, or any such medium, it's more than an opportunity to be a role model for others. It's a responsibility, part of the social contract. And I agree with that. It just sucks that, sometimes some athletes just make some dumb decisions, and unfortunately, it's a thing that everybody has to kind of just, everybody just kind of has to go with, even them, but, gotta do your best to just forgive and forget, depending on what it was. But number 6 here is, should steroid users be in the Hall of Fame? And this is what sparked the entire show tonight from this article. And it says, it seems right now the consensus is no. But in 20 years, we will look down on Bonds and Clemens on 50% of the league. On 50% of the league with a question mark. Then he says, Ryan's opinion. I think that the wounds of the steroid era need more time to heal, but ultimately I think the SE will come to be known as just what it says itself to be, an era in baseball. It's an impossibly fine distinction to make that one guy cheated and another did not, and I don't think it's within the capacity of the Hall of Fame to make it. The world knows that Barry Bonds used steroids. It should be on his place card, and his place card should be in the Hall of Fame. So he's actually saying, no, screw it. He used them, but why remove him? Or why does he not need to be in there? Or why should steroid users not make it? They did it. They actually did it. Barry Bonds hit 721 home runs. I think that's his number or something like that. He hit a freakish amount of home runs, and it doesn't matter who's natural and who hit 500 and something. All that matters is the number out front, which is Barry Bonds. So what he wasn't natural, he did it with steroids, he still did it because he did it. And that's all there is to it. Now, this should be fun, but Bib, what you got for us? What do you think? Should athletes that have been tested, and maybe time and time again, for positive for steroids, but they've done something great in their sport, should their records still stand? And based off of that, should they be in the Hall of Fame now? Or should the ones that could be on steroids now, could be entering one day, should they even be inducted because they're on roids? What do you think?
I feel like they should get stripped of everything and not be in the Hall of Fame, because, that's an unfair advantage. You still have to take the time to work out, do whatever you have to do to get better at your sport, but it's unfair to the person who is honest and doing their workouts or getting stronger the right way, because they have the patience of taking that time to, work hard at it. So it's not fair to them who are honest and don't use the steroids to get them better.
I agree. I 100% agree. Barry Bonds is a product of Southern California, and I have to say, My apologies, but I am not a fan of steroids. I don't care. And it sucks to know that some of my favorite athletes of all time probably could have taken some type of PED, and it sucks. Are they still my favorite athletes? Yes. But is it fair what they did? No. And it really bothers me that some of the natural people out there who really tried hard and did it all natural, those are the real record holders.
Yeah, because they're the ones who did it the right way.
Exactly. Maybe they didn't hit 720 home runs, 721 home runs. Maybe they hit 620 or maybe even 500 and something. But you know what? If that was all without juice, that's pretty goddamn impressive. And if you take away the juicer, if you take away the juice from that person's career who was the juicer, would they have even gotten that many?
No, probably not.
You know?
Maybe, who knows, but...
Maybe they would have. Maybe they would have still had 5 or 10 or 50 more than the other person that's behind them that was natural. Who knows? But what I'm saying is it's not fair that, you know, PEDs are a thing. There was another video that we watched on YouTube, and it was about, that was actually the same one. Your favorite athlete could be on steroids from Formula SEC Initiated on YouTube. And Performance Enhancing Drugs by Life Noggin on YouTube, and it was called "What Do Performance Enhancing Drugs Do to Your Body?" And I believe it was one of these two videos, but they talked about Lance Armstrong, of course. He was stripped of all 7 of his Tour de France titles, and he was blood doping using his own blood, basically getting his own blood taken out of him weeks or days or however long before, keeping it in the fridge, and then they would put it back in his body the day of the race, and he'd have like a major second wind because that's a lot of oxygen in your body. And, well, there you go. So they found out he was doing that, and they were like, yeah, we need to strip this guy of that. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. But at the same exact time, what about these other steroid users who clearly we know were steroid users, but they're still not out of the record books?
Yeah, that's not cool.
I mean, if we're going to do it for one sport, we should do it for them all, shouldn't we?
Yeah, all sports should be equal and fair in the rules and regulations.
I agree, and it's really sad when you have to look at these things and be like, wow, so-and-so got busted for PEDs. Now, I could ask you this question too, babe. This is a good question. Someone's young, or maybe getting close to their prime, or maybe in their prime, and they get busted for PEDs. Maybe there could be HGH, where you can come back from an injury quickly, I'm sure. I think people were accusing Ray Lewis of that when he tore his triceps and he came back like freaking weeks later. Okay, but who knows? That could have been great rehab. Who knows what? But all I'm saying is could it have been HGH with a lot of athletes, or different types of anabolic steroids, or HGH, or any type of anything like that? Could they learn their lesson after a indefinite ban, of course, until the league says they can come back, or they're fined however much or whatever. And after that point in time, they're given like, tries and tries and tries and tries, and they keep getting busted. You can only get fined so much, so often, before you start to realize, is this person ever going to learn their lesson? Or they're going to keep on getting a little ban here and there and a fine, and then they come back. Should that person just not be banned for life after they keep on messing up and offending constantly?
Yeah, they might as well, because they're obviously not learning their lesson, so they should just be banned from the game forever.
Exactly. And I gotta ask you this: what if an athlete cleans up their act and comes back?
Then I feel like that's fine, but they should also keep an eye on that player, though, to make sure that they don't relapse. I
agree. And I feel like it's really sad when athletes try... athletes just continue to habitually step over the line. Baby, we've seen that more times than you can imagine in sports. Oh, so-and-so got busted for PEDs. So-and-so got busted for PEDs. So-and-so got busted for PEDs. It seriously feels like the leagues don't really care. So it lets you know...
Well, no, they don't care, because as long as they're getting the trophies and titles and all that, then they turn a blind eye.
Well, that's the organizations for sure. They turn a blind eye, like the clubs.
Well, no, it's the coaches too. They know.
No, the organizations.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
But the entire organization, like, okay, for instance, of course, you know, a team is not going to possess their player, and as long as they're producing and winning, they can give a crap less. And if they get, here's the thing: we're with you until you get busted. When you get busted, I guess you're on your own with that yourself. But we're going to get as much as we can out of you before you get busted. Sometimes
I don't know, because even if I was on a team and someone were just to blatantly say like, "Oh yeah, I'm using," I mean, I wouldn't try to judge them, but I would try to like talk them out of like stop doing that, because like what if you get caught, you know, you're gonna just give our, you know, they have to not only think about themselves, they have to think about the whole team, because I mean obviously you're supposed to work together and everything like that, but it's just like the consequences always come out, you know, or the truth, I mean.
It does. It's the truth. And what you said is absolutely correct. And you know, it's crazy because the organization itself, like the NFL, the NBA, whatever it is, they're going to slap you on the wrist as many times as possible. Oh, no, it's okay. Oh, no, it's okay. We're going to give you, you know, a 4-game ban and charge you, you know, $40,000, which is nothing to these athletes. Guess what? They're going to come back next season or whenever they come back, and they're going to do it again. And it's another banned substance, and or maybe a couple seasons later. And this could happen like throughout this athlete's career. And they'll just continue to get slaps on the wrists. And, you know, it can go like maybe 2 or 3 times. I don't know how I don't think I've ever seen like somebody go like a ton of times, but at the end of the day, something's got to give.
So they believe in second chances like 100 times.
Well, because don't forget, these athletes are also pulling them in lots of money. Because remember, in the other video, which was by Formula SEC initiated, this guy says straight up, like, I guess it's for like, you know, the entertainment purposes. You know, these people are, you know, it's unfair. They're doing very unfair things. The way they're competing with these banned substances, but at the same exact time, should we care? Because they're entertaining us, and it's like, oh, cool. Like,
they should care though, because I mean, there's obviously bad consequences to using this kind of stuff. So, but then again, they don't care.
He's trying to make the money. And so in the chat room here, Taryn says, still tuning in, just finished up homework as well. So good for you, Taryn. And Marcus says here, I fully believe in lifetime bans. I could care less.
No, yeah, because I mean, people need to learn a lesson. They need to be the example, because they're teaching these younger kids who are wanting to become in the big time athlete league that, oh, if they're doing it, I can do it too, then it's okay, because they're basically getting away with it, so I can't get in that much trouble. And then they're just killing themselves, slowly but surely.
Oh, it's really sad. It is really sad to think that. And to think what steroids can really do to somebody and how they can really ruin your body. And a lot of bad things can happen. So overall, I'll tell you what, neither of us condone steroids or any type of performance enhancing drug. And we're both against it in the league, in any sport. But it's not going to stop anybody from doing it. And I just feel like it needs to be harsher. If you're going to be doing PEDs, then I'm right there. Like Cecilia already said it, and I've said it already too. But same thing with Marcus. I believe that these punishments need to be a little stricter.
They do, because I mean, if you think about it too, what if they were doing like cocaine or something like that, or something even harsher? I mean, they would be like, no, we're done, kind of thing. At least I would hope. But I mean, they're doing this stuff, which gives an unfair advantage to, you know, everyone else who's being honest and being natural.
Exactly.
So yeah, they need to have they need to get in trouble, like, big time.
I agree.
They need to take it more seriously than what it is.
No, they do need to take it more serious than what it is, and I completely got to tell you that I completely agree. It's not fair to everybody else who's doing it fair and who's being a part of being fair and who's really trying to be the best athlete they can be without taking anything. And in my opinion, those are the best people in the world, the ones who don't need anything. That truly is the world's best, that you don't need to take anything. You work that hard and you earned those records.
You just have to give your body time to adjust, and it will build slowly but surely, but at least you're still getting to where you want to be.
Exactly.
And you'll feel good about yourself because you did it the right way. You did it, all natural and the more healthy way. I mean, you'll live a longer, better, healthier life than relying on steroids that has permanent damage to your whole body. and it changes you.
I agree. And it's not right when people do that after rely on this. So, Terrence is here in the chat room. Cheaters prosper until they get caught. Then when they get caught, it's over.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there you go. So with that said, y'all,
That's a better way of putting it.
It really is. So with that said, interesting little episode there. Cool. We've reached our 7th episode, babe. We're almost 2 months into this. How do you feel so far having your very own podcast?
It's cool. I like it.
I
have fun.
I'm glad you do.
Especially talking about the serious and sometimes funny stuff that we do.
Right? It is always fun. It's always a great time here, babe, with you.
It goes fast, though. That's for sure.
Doesn't it? I'm telling you. That's why we're already at an hour and a half. Okay, I ran the distance doing a 3-hour show the other day on Wednesday night. Of course, you were at work, and I was just doing the show, and my goodness, it's like crazy to think it really is that it takes that long. Sometimes you just don't know it sometimes, but it just flies by. Time flies when you're having fun, right? But with that said, babe, everybody, of course, that is gonna do it for tonight's show. I'm loving it. This was so much fun. Another great episode, and that is our take on steroids in sports. That was a lot of fun, and well, there's only one thing left to do, y'all. Time to cue that music, cause we're out of here for the evening. And with that said, babe, final thoughts, comments, concerns, any type of deal on tonight's show?
Just that people don't do steroids. It's no good. And enjoy your bodies. That's the way God made you. And yeah. But everyone, thank you for listening. Take care, be safe, stay healthy.
Well, there you have it, y'all. I completely agree with my beautiful girlfriend here. It's the truth, y'all. It is the truth. God made you that certain way for a reason. Be happy. Be happy with who you are. If you're skinny, embrace it. Be a runner. Be thin. Do whatever you gotta do. If you're a little stockier or huskier, go lift weights. Put on the muscle. Embrace who you are. And of course, if you're a mesomorph, well then, my gosh, be an athlete. But it doesn't matter what body type you are. Enjoy yourself and love who you are. And don't take those performance-enhancing drugs, because you could be the world's best without those things. So, with that said, big ups to everybody in the chat room tonight. Tara Rodriguez, Andrew Hagenbaugh, and Marcus Lowe's great. Karen says here in the chat room, great show, Larry and Cecilia, never disappoint. Great to have you back this week. I miss you guys. I missed you last week. It felt weird last week not having you. We're sorry about that, Taryn. We got busy, man. But we will be back, of course, next week. Yes. We are ready to rock and roll, y'all. Of course, we will see how things pan out with the job and everything, and I'd hate to move the time, but actually it wouldn't even interfere, because I'll be out of work by this time anyway, so sweet. Well, with that said, y'all, that is going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you once again for being a part of it. Big shout out to our sponsors, of course. Mom is Always Right Media. Check out, of course, Coffee After Dark, and It Goes Down the PM. Podcasts of Mom is Always Right Media. Make sure to catch them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Mom is Always Right, where they get your papers done and they meet the deadlines. They help you out in school, y'all. That's all I gotta say. They do their thing. And of course, big ups to Legacy Financial. Andrew and Ayo are just two people on a mission to help you out financially, y'all. They're awesome, so show them some love. And of course, big shout out to all of our sponsors and everybody who is a part of us here at IE Sports Radio. If you want to hear more of us, check out IESportsRadio.com. Of course, give us a like on Facebook at IE Sports Radio. We certainly like that. Check us out on Twitter at IE Sports Radio. Give us a follow. Also follow us on Instagram at IE Sports Radio and show us some love, y'all. With that said, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Babe, any final words? That's right. She already spoke her piece. My bad. But with that said, y'all, that's going to do it for this episode. We will see y'all next week. Until then, take care. And as always, God bless.